Greetings, dear ones. I'm crying of magnetic service. I've titled this particular message, The Fog of War. It's being given when there is a war on this planet, and so many are asking questions about it, mainly due to some of the channeling that I've given before it. The fog of war is because there is a fog where you don't know what's coming. You're not really certain of what will happen next. You're not sure what the ramifications are. It's always foggy. War is this way, dear ones. It always has been. But there's more to this fog. It has to do with what some are thinking, some are understanding, and some are not. So I wanted to come at this time to give you perhaps what you hadn't heard before. I've been channeling now for 37 years. Most of the channeling in that time had to do with a cosmology of the human race. I'm going to explain that in a moment. But not all of you have heard these things that I would like you to hear, things that have a great deal to do with what is going on the planet at this moment. There's a great deal of misunderstanding from those who are metaphysical, who always felt that at the end of this shift, there would be some kind of an enlightened time. Angels would come from the sky. Everyone would think different. Sounds a lot like Scripture told you. It's a little more realistic than that. But dear ones, it is something you need to hear, because things are happening on the planet. Did you notice? Did you think everything was just the same as it always has been? Or have things then shuffled a bit, gone in different directions than you thought, made you afraid, perhaps? That's what I want to talk about. I'll start with the cosmology. Some have heard this, some have not. For many, many years, the ancients looked at the stars. It's all they had to look at, basically. And a few of the civilizations, they became specialists at it. The Mayans were one of those. They calendarized everything, and they were very good at that. But they're the ones, through their observatories, who noticed that this earth has a wobble about it. And they timed the wobble. They could project how long that wobble was from start to finish before it started again. And they realized it and notated it, and you can see it in their calendars. Because the wobble was 26,000 years. That's how long it took to start and stop. Far longer than they were here. But they organized a set of calendars around it. There were 5. Each one was 5,200 years. You have just passed through the last one, and you knew it. The last one ended in 2012. A lot was made about it, a lot of incorrect information given about it. Many movies took it to the bank, as they say. How many of you knew what that really was about? That was the last calendar of the 5. It started 5,200 years ago with Egypt, with a new awakening, with a whole new idea of what God was spiritually. Each one of the calendars started with some kind of an awakening in humanity. Some of them have been lost in history, history before history, that you'll only discover later. But you are familiar with the last one. This last calendar was important because at the end of that calendar, the 2012 calendar, they also gave predictions and what it was about. The Mayan had calendars out to the year 4000. It was not the last calendar. They continued that which was the ongoing creation due to that wobble. At the end of the wobble, there is what is called the precession of the equinoxes, and you can see that in the skies. All of these things, these predictions, were not just the Mayan. They simply calendarized it. American Indians knew it, the Hopis knew it, the Peruvians knew it. So many of the ancients had looked to the skies and realized something that is not then well known today, not even believed today, and thought of as perhaps insanely stupid, that consciousness might actually work with the cosmos. How many of you are into astrology? That is an example of the cosmos working with human consciousness. With that which is the grids of the planet reacting to that which is the grids of the solar system, all of that, the magnetics, the gravity, coming into play with the consciousness of a human being. Even still, there are those who would laugh and say, "That's not believable, Cryon." Oh, really? Tell me why the police and fire departments put on more people in the full moon. What does the moon have to do with consciousness? And they will not be able to answer, except that statistics will tell you that at the full moon there are more activities. The word lunatic came from this. It has always been here. And through history there were the shamanics who knew it and taught it. It's not new. Cosmology has something to do with human consciousness, dear ones. What did the Mayans say at the end of this calendar might occur? They've written it very clearly. They're written on the walls of some of their temples. That beyond the calendar that exists today after 2012, there was the opportunity for the greatest change in consciousness that humanity had ever seen. An elevated consciousness. That if you made it past the 2000s, this is the consciousness to expect. Major change in the way human beings think. That's the cosmology. That's the setup that I want to talk to you about today. Now, perhaps you hadn't heard that before and didn't know that before. What it means, the first, is that everything is on schedule. It's on a schedule that was known by the ancients. There are so many wringing their hands and saying, how can this occur now? What is it when we're supposed to have good things happen that all of a sudden there is this? What if I told you that this is expected? It's what humans do. Some months ago, at the end of 2025, I gave information. It was information that was surprising to so many people. When you take a look at the predicted years of the shift, the precession of the equinoxes, approximately when it started, the middle, and when it ends, you're going to see the pattern. The one that I talked about, the one that I've been channeling about for 37 years. And here it is. 1994 was the beginning of the shift. It took 5 years to actually get into a very difficult time. It became more difficult because the old energy was gearing up, you might say, for a battle. The battle that would occur mostly in the years of the 2000s. Now, before I go any further at all, does that sound familiar to you from any scriptures you might have had from your church? It's everywhere for you to look at. It was going to be the years, the 2000s, where you might have the Armageddon, the rapture even. There would be difficult times. How many of your movies have targeted a nuclear exchange as the end of the world just about now? And the answer would be a lot of them. That seems to be a prevailing thought out of the consciousness of so much of humanity. That now is the end of the world. Now is when it all changes. Well, you might say you're right. What if I told you it's the end of an old world? The Mayan calendar, it was replaced in the middle, you might say, of this precession of the equinoxes. 2012 was the years between 1994 and 2030. Those were the years of the shift. Now I've given you the cosmology. Those are the years of the shift. It took 5 years to get into it from 1994. It's going to take 5 years to get out of it in 2030. When I say get into it and out of it, the measurement that's astronomical I'm giving you, it's the cosmology. The timing is not metaphysical. It's from the earth. It's measured by the wobble of the earth. It's measured also in what is expected in consciousness. What the ancients said. This is not something that has been gleaned from the pages of a crayon book. This was way before I ever got here. Dear ones, I'm here to help you through this, to make you understand what it is. 2026, listen carefully, is the first year of 5 coming out of the shift. 2026 carries an entire different energy than this planet has ever seen. You might say the planet has been an endless circle, like a train that circles around perhaps a Christmas tree, and it goes nowhere. It just chugs along, and then it runs over the same track over and over and over. And this is what your history has been like, and you know it. War after war after war, it's the same energy. One war leads to another. Sometimes it's the same war with the same players. They simply take a break and continue. You've seen this. It's the most dysfunctional thing that a human could do. Trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And suddenly, there's a sighting on that track. And if you do, perhaps with free choice, something special, you will be able to take that sighting as humanity and get off that track. And you did. And you did. The beginning of the precession of the equinox showed that. I called it the snowball rolling down the hill because I saw it coming. Things were changing. This is the beginning, perhaps, of the indigo children as well that I spoke about. All of these things were a change of consciousness that is slow. I want you to remember that. Things happen slowly with consciousness, the planet, all changes. They don't happen instantly and automatically. Sometimes it takes generations so that one generation can get out of the old energy the other generation had. This is not new information. You even saw this biblical. When in the story of Moses and the Israelites, they walked for 40 years in the desert, a whole generation, because you could not take those from an older energy and put them into the promised land. Moses didn't get to go either. What does that tell you about how long some of these things change and go to change and take for change? The war is here. Some say, what a surprise, what a shock. We never thought this would happen. And if you say that, you are proving what I have told you. This is an energy on the planet you have never seen before. If I could give you that which is the overwhelming energy, it would be that of solutions, closing loops, and the end of uncertainty. This is the beginning of a 5-year time. This war of yours will not last that long, dear ones, you'll see. But it will have forever lasting implications. You will see for the first time new affiliations, perhaps with countries that would not have done this otherwise. You always had the choice of how to do the things that are being done now. Whether you could have done them perhaps with negotiations or economic pressures over time remains to be seen, because those days are gone. But what is happening right now is human-produced, not spiritually. You have free choice to make the changes, but I want you to notice some things. This is not a surprise war. If it were a surprise, why would the munitions be stacked up by the thousands, perhaps tens of thousands, getting ready for it? It's almost like the players knew it would happen. And perhaps they could get out of it and have it never happen. This is the free choice you had. But the humans chose to do something radical, and here it is, the fog of war. Complete with the grief, the sorrow, the horror, the heartbreak. But look at this for a moment. When did the war occur? Right out of the blocks, you might say, of 2026. The year that I told you was the most different energy this planet will ever see. It's the beginning of coming out of the shift. I informed those perhaps who are listening who believe you're old souls that it's going to be better years for you. Because it's an elevated time where your consciousness is starting to move dimensionally into places where you're going to be able to help more people than you've ever been able to before. That's what this is about. Those who listened and understood that this is perhaps coming out of the shift and your best year. I was not speaking about the planet. I'm speaking about the old soul who might be listening to this, who is feeling it within themselves and understanding. You're here for a reason. What if indeed you're changing dimensionally? What if indeed you are understanding what compassion really is? More than that, that you can now put it on the field. You can send it to those who need it more. You can temper the grief. You can shorten the war. That's what we're talking about. That's who you are. Humans have always been so impatient, especially for what they felt might be coming. You get the ticket for the train and you wait and it comes on schedule. What if the train had no schedule? But you had a ticket that was forever and you could know that you were going to have the train. Would you wait, or would you toss it aside and say, took too long? Here we are with a shift of over 30 years. And the first year coming out of it. And only in the third month of the first year, and so many light workers are tapping their toes and saying, what is this? You told us it would be different, Brian. Dear ones, have a little more wisdom. How long will these things take? And the answer has always been longer than you want. But from year to year, you are seeing things you never thought you would see. Look into the cracks of what has happened with human consciousness, and you're seeing those who want things like every mother on this planet would want. Peace for their children in the future. Food for all of them. And a way forward in education. More and more mothers are weighing in on what they want for this planet. And what you're seeing right now is a result of some of that. The fog of war continues as long as you choose it to continue. But I will tell you that this particular war is a change. It's a change that many never expected would work this way. And while it takes place, I want every old soul listening to this to understand something. You have been elevated in these last months coming out of the shift. You can shorten this war. Compassionate action means you take a look at those in trouble and you concentrate on them, not in something solving itself, but you look at what it's going to be like after the resolution, when they have peace. See them laughing again, understanding, see them living in peace. That is compassionate action, because an ascended light worker, one who can think this way, can actually push the reality of this planet into a more comfortable, peaceful place. Did you know that? That's been proven. That's the field. This is what you can do. That's why you're here. Not to complain that perhaps it wasn't as good as you thought here in 2026, but to understand you came here to work, light worker. Compassion is the key, kindness, and lack of fear. Understand that what's going on this planet is brand new. You can feel that. That's where the fear is. What's going to happen next? And you can temper it. Everyone watching this right now, dropping into your heart, seeing those in trouble, out of trouble, don't Give them the reason or how it's going to turn out. Don't become political. Just see peace and beauty, perhaps, and some kindness that might even occur between countries eventually when they live in peace for so many years. This is the future, and you're living it. We told you all about it when we got here. We walked you through the shift when it was occurring. And then we showed you very clearly who you were. Light workers, unite in compassion. Put it on the field so it can be felt by everyone on the planet. You're the giants in compassion at the moment. You're the ones who will make a difference on this planet. And it's not political. It's all part of that which is, I would say, the ascension God portion of your soul. It is not religion. It is spirituality. That all of you, every single one of you, can make a difference right now, no matter what you believe with any doctrine. It's intrinsic. It's innate. It comes with the territory of a soul that has been born here at this time, and now you know why. Time to go to work, old soul. I'm crying in love with you all. And so it is.